Coercive control is an insidious form of domestic violence described as psychological warfare by survivors. It will become a criminal offence in Queensland next year, but victims fear police won't be able to identify and then investigate it when the laws come into effect. The Queensland Police Service insists it will be prepared.
Coercive control is insidious. It starts very subtly, it escalates and it's repetitive, and that's the thing, it's constant and repetitive. It's like psychological warfare.
This woman, who we'll call Michelle to protect her identity, has experienced more than a decade of coercive control from her ex-husband.
He had constant surveillance on what I was doing, who I was seeing. If I ever had friends, he would want to know who they were.
Despite a domestic violence order out against him, Michelle's interactions with police left her feeling exposed.
When I first made an initial complaint, I'd given them my evidence and they said, there's no threat here, there's nothing we can do. So it was very dismissive.
Coercive control will become a criminal offence in Queensland next year. But are police up to the task of gathering the evidence and identifying insidious coercive behaviours?
A scathing commission of inquiry 16 months ago found shortfalls in the police force.
The damning report into police culture that exposes sexism, racism and misogyny in the force.
Cultural issues ultimately inhibit the policing of domestic violence.
For those who have experienced this, I am deeply sorry.
Yes, there have been mistakes. We know there have been mistakes.
What do you say to victims of domestic violence who believe the Queensland Police are not prepared to police coercive control?
Look, I think that's they should be comforted that we've got some time to get this right.
Part of the preparations will be specialised training.
We rely very heavily on what an aggrieved in those situations would have to share with us, but often families and friends are aware of what's happening in relationships, and we would be seeking the assistance of those witnesses as well.
Every day across Queensland, officers respond to dozens of domestic violence incidents.
There's a 38-year-old female that's contacted police this morning. She's got 3 kids.
To understand the extent of the problem, we spent time with a specialist unit in Logan that deals with high-risk cases.
I've been doing this for nearly 20 years now, and I can't remember any week of policing where I haven't been to a DV.
At any one time, officers in the unit can be dealing with up to 100 cases.
Does it ever feel like there's more and more workload, or the nature of the offending is getting worse?
Definitely the nature of the offending. We're feeling that that's escalating, but it changes and evolves as well. There's more surveillance. That's been something that's on the increase.
Last financial year, the QPS dealt with a record 171,000 domestic violence call-outs. This year is on track to be worse. Already, there's been more than 144,000 incidents.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year, our frontline police are out there policing in this space.
It erodes your self-esteem. You're walking on eggshells.
The service insists it will be prepared to enforce coercive control laws, just one of the many threads of domestic violence.